Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Rokket Yugioh deck profile for post Burst of Destiny. With the release of Burst of Destiny, we were given a bunch of new support for the Boral and Rokket monsters from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain series. These were used by Revolver in the series. It's a form of dragon-type monster that can link summon into a bunch of different monsters, but not just link summon, they can also synchro, exceed, fusion, and with Burst of Destiny, we were also introduced to their new ritual monster, which is definitely an interesting take on the Rokket series because these cards can use that ritual monster by destroying their Rokket monsters on the field instead of just having to use them as a tribute for most other ritual monsters would. I really love the Rokket deck. I've been updating it since it was first released back during the Circuit Break booster pack, and I hope we continue to get support with them in the future sets as well. I know there's a Link 5 Rokket that we hopefully will get for the Boral series as well, but until then, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll also go ahead and start off with the main deck for the monsters. One of the best Rockets in the entire deck is Rokket Tracer. This card has a quick effect where you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one Rokket monster from your deck except for Rokket Tracer. Also, you cannot special summon from the X deck for the rest of this turn except for dark monsters. You can use this effect of Rokket Tracer once per turn. This is really easy to set up just for the overall playstyle of what the deck is meant to do and give you access to a bunch of different Rokket monsters to also set up your synchro monster, which is your Borreload Savage Dragon. We run 3 of this just because it can easily be summoned out with other cards in the deck, including Quick Launch and also Boot Sector Launch, but having 3 at least allows us to have multiple copies to not just use for synchro, but if we have another level 4, we also have access to our Borreload X-Charge Dragon and also Borreload Furious Dragon if we use it as one of the fusion materials. And with the newest card being a ritual, the Borreload Riot Dragon, we also have access to that if we were to use it to destroy for the cost for the ritual spell. For some of the other Rokket monsters, I also run 2 Magna Rokket Dragon. When a Link monster effect is activated that targets this face-up card on the field, you can destroy this card, then send one monster on the field to the graveyard. And during the end phase, and this is a monster effect that is shared with the majority of the different Rokket monsters, because it was destroyed on the field or by battle or card effect and sent to this turn, you can special summon one Rokket monster from your deck except for Magna Rokket Dragon. And a good amount of the different Rokket monsters share this card effect. I only run 2 Magna Rokket because there's a good number of other different Rokket monsters that we run in the deck to help with the overall play style of the deck altogether. But this one I decided to run at 2 just because being able to send an opponent's monster can get around cards that cannot be destroyed by card effects, cannot be destroyed by battle, since it just sends the card to the graveyard. We're running lower numbers for all the other Rockets, but it's fine because they're easily able to be summoned out onto the field. Once again, Quick Launch can just special summon a Rokket from the deck, and with all the other ones just being able to special summon out each other. That's why I'm running 1 of each of the other Rockets, including the newest one, which is Rokket Caliber. You can special summon this card from your hand to a zone a Dark Link monster points to you. You can only special summon Rokket Caliber once per turn this way, and you can tribute this card to special summon 1 Dark Dragon or Machine monster from your hand except for Rokket Caliber. You can only use this effect of Rokket Caliber once per turn. So the tribute comes in handy for being able to then have it in the graveyard to summon back out into the field with Boot Sector Launch as another Rokket in the graveyard. And just an easy special summon target with some of our Link arrows we may have set up, including Borrowcode Dragon, for that option. For some of the other Rockets, I also run 1 Rokket Recharger. If a dark monster you control that was special summoned from the X deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to target one of those destroyed monsters and special summon it back onto the field. So as a recharger, it sort of, like refuels the monsters we use in this deck to summon them back onto the field to reuse after they were destroyed. I also run 1 Metal Rokket. This one helps to destroy cards in the same column as this one. And then I also run 1 Auto Rokket. This sends spells and traps to the graveyard. And 1 Shell Rokket, destroying adjacent cards with this one. And also 1 Aneth Rokket for setting up and stopping our opponent's monster effects and also preventing them from attacking. All of these work very, very well together. Just 1 of copies, so you have the multiple searches off of each other because they all share a good majority, except for Rokket Caliber and also Recharge. The other ones, if they're destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon another Rokket monster to the field using these cards. And the last one is 1 Silver Rokket. With this one, when a Link monster effect is activated that targets this face-up card in the field, you can destroy this card, then look at your opponent's extra deck and banish 1 card from it. And during the end phase, if it's in the graveyard and destroyed, just like the other ones, you can special summon 1 Rokket from your deck except for or Silver Rocket Dragon. So this also helps with these different number rockets that we run, just running a good majority of them, so we don't have any conflicting ones, opening up multiple special summons. The only ones I wanted to run more of were obviously the ones I found a little better for the lineup altogether. For some of the other dragon support for the Rocket deck, I also run 2 Abso Router Dragon. If you control a Rocket monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Abso Router Dragon once per turn this way. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Rocket monster from your deck to your hand. And you can only use this effect of Abso Router once per turn. So whether it be through cards like, let's say, Dragon Shrine or Dragon Ravine, you can gain a search for any of the rockets we just spoke of earlier in the video to add to your hand, making it another good searcher for those cards, and another reason why you only really need to run 1 of each of the last rocket monsters I spoke of. I also run 2 Noctovision Dragon, just another easy special summon card. If a dark dragon monster is special summoned to your field, except during damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can draw 1 card. It's a special summon and draw power option card from the hand to use. Having 2800 defense also makes it a pretty beefy defense wall if need be, but I like it just as the resource for draw power to keep the hands consistent if you invest in your link plays, and just an easy special summon to the field after you use that monster. And one of the new monsters I'm running is the Double Disruptor Dragon. You contribute this card, then target 2 rocket monsters in your graveyard with different names. Special summon them in defense position. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 Rapid Trigger or 1 Heavy Interlock from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Double Disruptor Dragon once per turn. So this basically searches out the new cards I was speaking of, the Rapid Trigger or Heavy Interlock, with the Rapid Trigger being the fusion spell that we had from the Rocket Structure deck, and the Heavy Interlock is the ritual spell. So either adding the fusion spell or the ritual spell is an immense help, because Synchro and Xyz just rely on using the monsters. We needed those other search cards to then be able to summon out Borreload Furious Dragon and also our Borreload Riot Dragon. This card helps with that, and summoning out the next go-to card, which is the Borreload Riot Dragon. It's the level 8 ritual that we got in the Burst of Destiny booster set. You can ritual summon this card with Heavy Trigger. When your opponent would special summon a monster, quick effect, you can negate the summon, and if you do destroy that monster, then destroy this card or 1 rocket monster you control. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target 1 Boral or rocket monster in your graveyard, destroy 1 card in your hand or field, and if you do, add the targeted monster to your hand. Recycle power, but also the destruction capabilities that just help to basically extend all of your different rocket plays. You only really need 1 of this. It's searchable with Double Disruptor Dragon. If I were to run anything more, I would maybe run more Double Disruptor Dragon. It has to be special summoned out. I would say the easiest way to do so. So that's why I'm only running 1 copy of it. But there are multiple ways to do so in this deck quite easily. And then you have the other cards to rely on to summon out onto the field using those monsters. And then lastly, for the actual rocket support in the deck, just the 1 Rocket Synchron, just another tuner option with our level 7 monster being Noctovision Dragon to go for synchro plays with this card. And when it's normal summon, being able to target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon in the graveyard and special summon it in defense but negates effects. So you can just summon out your Noctovision Dragon off of this card, or even our Abso Router Dragon, and then gain the level 8 synchro using those 2 cards on the field. That's why I like just running 1 of this card as that added option. And then for some more of the generic dragon support, I just run 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. You can special summon 1 dragon from your hand or graveyard. So a great target with Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is your Double Disruptor Dragon, because then it just gets around some of the other limitations with summoning this card out on the field, since it's not actually a rocket monster, but then you contribute it to summon out 2 more rocket monsters to the field using it. And also 1 Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and 1 White Dragon Wyver Buster for the additional special summon options using both of these cards, and being able to search each other off of each other when you summon the other one. And that is it for the monsters. Moving on now to the spells. I run 3 Quick Launch. This is probably one of the best spells in the deck just for the overall setup, being able to summon out a rocket monster from the deck, but it cannot attack, and also destroy it during the end phase. So whatever target you need, you just have that search for 1 of your rocket monsters, and then you can extend your plays from there. For some of the lower numbers for the spells, we do run a pretty good number of lower cards, but you really only need the 1-ofs for the rocket support, including the 1 Boot Sector Launch. This is just because you can search it off of Striker Dragon, which is your Link 1 monster you go into probably almost every game. 1 Squib Draw. This destroys a rocket monster you control, and then if you do, draw 2 cards. So not only we get the draw 2, you'll get the special summon at the end of the turn for the rocket monster you destroyed. 1 Bayonet Punisher. This is the newest card from the Burst of Destiny set. With it, you apply their effects in sequence depending on the types of Boral monsters you control, and in your graveyard, if you control a monster with 3,000 or more attack, your opponent cannot activate cards in response to this card's activation. If it's a fusion, you banish 1 monster your opponent controls. If it's a synchro, you banish 3 random face-down cards from your opponent's extra deck face-up. XYZ, banish 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. Link, banish up to 3 cards in your opponent's graveyard. You can activate 1 Bayonet Punisher per turn. This is a pretty good tech card to rely on against your opponent. That's why I like just running the 1. It's a quick play spell if you have your field set up and you're able to draw into this card potentially with cards like Squib Draw. It just makes it all the better. Also, the 1 Heavy Interlock. This is the ritual spell that you can use to summon out your newest Borreload monster, Borreload Riot Dragon, and you can destroy your rocket monsters with this card. So very, very useful there. From your hand or field, to destroy rocket monsters from your hand or face them on the field. So after destroying those rocket monsters, you'll have your ritual monster and the additional special summons off them at the end of the turn. 1 Boral Regenerator to gain the additional special summons onto the field from the graveyard. And lastly, the 1 Rapid Trigger. This card can be searched off of your double Disruptor Dragon, making it all the better of a search target for the deck, and also destroying the fusion materials needed to summon out your Borreload Furious Dragon. For additional special summon power, I also run 3 World Legacy Guard Dragon, just being able to special summon a level 4 lower dragon from your graveyard onto the field, and also move the position of your Link monsters. Makes it all the better in this deck, because then you can just adjust where you want those Link monsters to be on the field, clearing up your extra monster zone, as well for more Link monsters to summon. And for the one-ofs, for the spells, I run 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Pot of Avarice, along with 1 Dragon Shrine, Absolrator Dragon, very, very nice with this, and same premise for Dragon Ravine. We are running the Dragoonity Knight Romulus in the extra deck, which can easily search out Dragon Ravine to just set up more and more dragon monsters in our graveyard. And that is it for the main deck. We will now move on to the extra deck. I'm running the 1 Boral Code Dragon. This is the newest card from the Burst of Destiny for Link monsters. It's a Link 3 Boral, so a big plus there, not having to fully invest in a Link 4, just needing 2 or more effect monsters. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects while a Link monster points to it, and you can only use each of the following effects of Boral Code Dragon once per turn. At the start of damage step, if this card was Link summoned using 3 monsters as material, and it battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy all monsters on the field, and you can banish this card from your graveyard and banish 1 dark monster with 3,000 more attack from the field. If you do, special summon 1 Topologic monster from your extra deck or graveyard. Being able to summon out a Topologic monster is definitely interesting for that summon, but we do run the 1 target, which we'll get to in just a bit, in the extra deck for this summon. Along with some of the other Link monsters, we're running the 1 Borreload Dragon, the 1 Boral Guard Dragon, and the 1 Boral Sword Dragon. All of Revolver's, I would say, boss Link monsters that he went into. If you didn't want to run Boral Guard Dragon, you can always put in Topologic Bomber Dragon as another target for Boral Code Dragon, but it's basically player preference at that point, which one you want to run in the deck to use. For the additional Link monsters, we run the 1 Topologic Trisbana and the 1 Triple Burst Dragon. Trisbana is the target to go with for the Boral Code Dragon, and Triple Burst Dragon is just another great, dragon monster that can stop our opponent's spell and trap plays when it attacks. For the lower Link monsters, I also run 1 Striker Dragon. It is at 1 on the ban list, but when it's Link summoned, you can add 1 Boot Sector Launch from your deck to your hand, and you can target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 Rocket monster in your graveyard. Destroy that monster on the field, and if you do, add that other monster from your graveyard to your hand. Being able to add that monster just makes it a target to then use with Boot Sector Launch from your hand. It's a great setup card, and this card just needs a level 4 lower dragon monster to summon it. So with it, you gain search, power, and setup. And also the 1 Guard Dragon Pisty, more recycle power with this card for your special summon targets for a dragon monster that is banished or in the graveyard. 1 Dragoonity Knight Romulus for the Dragon Ravine Search. 1 Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, being another light attribute, also helps when we have to summon out Collapse Serpent, giving us 1 more target in the graveyard. And also the 1 Quad Boral Dragon. This is more setup for the discard to target face-up monsters on the field and give us more special summon resources to use for those Link monsters. monsters. For the other extra deck monsters, I run the 1 Borreload Savage Dragon and the 1 Chaos Ruler Chaotic Magical Dragon. For the light options for something in this back, we have the Heavenly Spheres and also Wyver Buster when it's in the graveyard. Normally, for those plays, I go into Borreload Savage Dragon more because we have the Link 4 monsters to equip onto it to gain additional counters and monster effect negation. And for the other extra deck monsters, 1 Borreload Furious Dragon and 1 Borreload X-Charge Dragon. Also, so we can benefit from the Bayonet Punisher, more using these 2 cards with the additional monsters we can set up on the field, depending on what we need to use to stop our opponent. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, even just opening up 1 Rocket monster can set off a big span of plays. You just summon out this Rocket monster, going for the Link 1 play of your Striker Dragon. When this card is then summoned, you can add from your deck to your hand your Boot Sector Launch. Activating the Boot Sector Launch can then give you the additional plays for your setup for your Rocket Tracer from the graveyard, which then you can use your Striker Dragon to target a face-up monster on you control, and 1 Rocket monster in your graveyard. You can even destroy a Striker Dragon, adding the Rocket Tracer back to your hand. If you have the additional monsters in your hand, depending on what Rocket monster you have, you can then special summon out those additional monsters, and then use Rocket Tracer, destroying 1 of your Rocket monsters to summon another one out onto the field with those plays for that setup. And then with those 2 monsters, you either have the option of going into your Xyz play that I spoke of before, or your Synchro play using those 2 monsters if you have the search power or setup. And let's even say you have the play style setup and you summoned your Rocket Tracer initially with Quick Launch, not even taking up your normal summon, and you have double Disruptor Dragon. You contribute these 2 monsters, still having your normal summon to summon out your double Disruptor Dragon, being able to attribute it to target 2 Rocket monsters in your graveyard with different names and special summon them in defense. And then after you tribute this card, you can special summon out those 2 Rocket monsters back onto the field to set it up into the graveyard for the Banish, to then add 1 Rapid Trigger or Heavy Interlock from your deck to your hand. You can then have the Fusion play activated with Rapid Trigger, or if you have the Ritual monster, since you now have the Heavy Interlock in your hand, be able to even go for that play using those monsters on the field. It all comes down to what you want to use, but you can also just send double Disruptor Dragon from your deck to the graveyard using your Dragon Ravine or your Dragon Shrine. Setting them up in the graveyard just gives you the Banish option, because once it's just in the graveyard, you can use the Banish. You don't get the special summon, but still more of the search for whatever 2 of the spells you needed for your summon. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. This is definitely one that I was the most excited, along with Destiny Heroes, to make from the latest booster set. And I'll continue to be uploading and updating the Boral deck. I'm not sure if we'll be getting anything for it in the Brothers of Legend booster set, but I'll definitely look forward to it if we do. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.